So, if you've been trying to keep up with Quebec's real estate market, you're probably feeling a little bit of whiplash. One headline tells you prices are finally cooling off, and the very next one says they're skyrocketing. It's confusing, right? So, what's really going on?
It's the big question, isn't it? Whether you're renting, trying to buy, or just watching this crazy market from the sidelines. You want to know, are prices going up, down, or somehow both at the same time? Well, we're going to unravel this whole mystery for you.
All right, let's dive right in. The key to cracking this puzzle isn't about finding one single simple answer. It's about realizing that we're not actually talking about one market at all. We're looking at a tale of two completely different markets. And here it is, the big aha moment. The reason you're hearing all these conflicting reports is because the rental market and the homeownership market are basically living in two different universes right now. They are telling two totally opposite stories. This chart breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have the rental market, where we're seeing prices actually soften up a bit. That's mostly thanks to a wave of condo construction from a few years back. But then you look at the homeownership market, and it's a totally different story. Prices are climbing and climbing, fueled by insane demand and not enough houses to go around. Two different drivers, two completely different results. So let's dig into that first story, the one for renters. For the first time in what feels like forever, it seems like there's a little bit of breathing room. But, and this is a big but, this relief might just be a temporary thing.
Now, let's be really clear about what relief means here. Prices are still incredibly high. We're talking an average of $1,400 a month for a studio apartment in Montreal. Yep, for 0 bedrooms. So even with a tiny dip, affordability is still a huge, huge issue.
So why is this happening right now? It all comes down to something called the construction lag effect. The new apartments hitting the market today aren't brand new projects. They're the result of a construction boom that started way back in 2021 and 2022. You know, it takes a solid 2 to 3 years for a massive tower to go from a hole in the ground to a place people can actually live. And here is the catch. This is the really crucial part. The relief renters are feeling today is really just an echo from the past. When we look ahead, the picture isn't so great. New construction projects have been way down for the last couple of years. That means the supply pipeline of new apartments isn't being refilled. And you know what that means? The pressure on rents is probably coming right back. Okay, now let's pivot to that other story, the one that paints a completely different picture for homeowners and anyone trying to buy a place. While renters are getting a tiny break, the story over here is about a squeeze that just keeps getting tighter and tighter.
I mean, just take a look at these numbers for the greater Montreal area. They're pretty staggering. The average single-family home now going for around $1.2 million. And even a condo is going to set you back about $500,000. For a huge number of people, that dream of owning their own place is just becoming financially impossible.
And why is the pressure so crazy high, especially for those single-family houses? Well, according to economist Francis Gosselin, it taps into something really deep in our culture. It's not just about buying a building. It's about getting the Quebec dream. You know, a yard, a driveway, maybe a pool. The problem is that's what everybody wants, and we are building very, very few of them. So this all leads to a massive consequence of this new reality. And it's a big one. If a whole generation sees that the traditional path to building wealth, owning a home, is pretty much blocked off, what do they do instead? What we're seeing is a fascinating, fundamental shift in how people are planning their financial futures. This number pretty much says it all. The average age for a first-time homebuyer in this country has now climbed past 40. Now think about that for a second. This isn't just a small delay. A milestone that our parents might have hit in their mid-20s is now being pushed back by almost 2 decades. That changes absolutely everything about how you plan your life. Which brings us to the most important question of all. If you're able to save some money, but not nearly enough for a down payment on $1 million home, what do you do with it? Where do you invest in your future when that old traditional road is closed? Well, for a lot of people, the answer is becoming the stock market. Young people have some money they can save, and all these user-friendly financial apps have made investing easier and more accessible than it has ever been. This isn't just a fad, it's a major pivot. With real estate feeling out of reach, stocks are quickly becoming the main way for people to build their wealth for the long term. So what's the best way to navigate this new world? The economist Francis Gosselin gives this amazing piece of advice. He says, don't try to be a genius and perfectly time the market. You'll probably fail. The real power is just in consistency. Regularly putting a small amount of money away from every single paycheck is how you let that magic of compound interest do the work for you over time. Which leaves us with one last really provocative thought. For generations, the Quebec dream was tied to owning a piece of land, a home. But with that dream moving further and further out of reach for so many, are we watching that dream itself change? Could it be that a diversified stock portfolio is the new Quebec dream for a new generation? It's a question that really redefines what financial security looks like in the 21st century.